Hello and welcome to the first in a series of Top Technician podcasts being brought to you by the Top Technician team, where we go through what's involved in Top Technician and find out more about it. I'm your host for today's session, Aftermarket editor Alex Wells, and I am joined by a number of the top tech judges, as well as our project manager, Ian Gillgrass. Say hello, Ian.
Hello.
And I've also got Rob Lewis from JLR.
Oh, yeah.
And I've got the infamous Steve Smith from Pico.
Hello.
Lastly, for now, we have Olly Hayward from Porsche GB. It's Porsche GB, isn't it? There may be others joining us as we go. It's that kind of exciting session, so we'll just kick right off.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, so we've got a mixture here of people that have been involved with Top Tech for a long time, as well as people who've competed in Top Tech and people who've won Top Tech. So I think between the six of us, we've got a pretty good understanding of the competition, and we can help bring some of this.
I think everyone's been a competitor. Rob and Steve and Ollie, they've all been competitors within Top Tech.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Have you? You haven't, have you?
No.
No, you said,
no.
No.
Yeah, we've been through the grind wheel.
Yeah.
We're put under pressure.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll come to the experience parts in a minute, but starting at the beginning, obviously the key part of taking part in Top Tech, the first step on the way to winning is actually entering. So how do you enter, Ian? How does one enter Top Tech?
Well, you go onto the Top Technician website and you press a few links and you get through to register, and it asks you some questions like your name, your address, and the bits and pieces, and how we can contact you in the future. And then you just put the code in, and it presents 40 questions to you.
That all seems
it's that simple.
As it does seem very straightforward, and it is. And hence we've been doing this for more than 20 years, and people keep coming back. So obviously the question it's split up into a number of rounds. Those first 40 questions, they're not going to be easy, but they're not going to break your brain, are they? They're the starting point.
The first set of questions is a lot of questions that basically, I think you should know if you're a good technician out there, and they've been through round about 3 or 4 people and pre the event, and then they get presented to whoever enters.
Once they've obviously that first round, once you've entered, but you do the first round, that lasts until April the 19th.
So yes, Alex. So
they've got, at this point, they've still got quite a few weeks to enter and take part, and that once you've entered the first part, and if you pass the first round, you then go through to the second round.
And then you get faced with another set of 30 or 40 questions.
This gets a bit harder at this point, doesn't it?
It does get a little bit harder. So we need to whittle the people down to about 30 people.
Mm-hmm.
And then we send them out some open questions, and they have to do a little bit of research if they don't know the answer to the questions.
That's round 3, isn't it?
That's round 3.
Yeah, that is a much more challenging.
That's the one. Yeah.
And then obviously from that 30, we take it down to 10 for
the semi-final.
And that's live.
That's live. That's done. That's at a training centre, and that's where we practically assess people. Well, Rob and Steve and Ollie do anyway.
And that's when the judges are coming to it in the live sense, and they will oversee the tasks, of which there are 5 or 6. There are 5 tasks.
5 tasks, all lasting 20 minutes.
And from those 10 people, 5 are eliminated, and then the final 5 are in the final. Correct.
And that's when they're faced with 5 tasks of around about 50 minutes in duration.
And that's much harder. That's again harder and more complex than the semi.
Yes, correct. And then we just kind of, and it's against a clock. So there's a big clock in the background of the people.
And then after that, the winner is announced at the Top Garage Awards evening. That evening.
That evening, and they get presented with their prize or prizes. So it's a number of prizes they get presented with. So yeah,
I mean,
it's,
so
it's that simple.
that is the mechanics of it, to use a very poor pun. That's the practical side of it. But why should somebody enter? What do you get from it? Should we open this up to some of our
Of course,
fellow
you know,
podders?
yeah. They've all been through it. They've all,
Yeah.
So
I'd like to go with this one, actually, if I can. And,
go ahead, Steve.
yeah, this is just challenging yourself, isn't it? And you're going to meet like-minded people, and the people that I've met through judging and through being a contender, sorry, has been great. I mean, I'm still friends with a lot of people, making new friends along the way, but you are joining like-minded people. You are challenging yourself, of course, but I try not to think of it as a competition. If you're coming into this competition, think of it as a training course that you're coming on, or a seminar where you will have to demonstrate your skill. But yeah, why would you enter? You must enter. You've got to enter. You've got nothing to lose.
When did you win? It was 2013. 2013.
I don't like to talk about it much, but I do keep this close by just in case.
Yeah, to those who are listening, he just happened to have his trophy from 2013 next to him, which is about the size of his head.
I've just taken off the bonnet of my car, so I'll fasten it back on in a minute.
He doesn't like to talk about it. But Ollie, you were a contestant a bit more recently. Would you agree with these sentiments?
Yeah, I was in the final in 2022. I first entered, I think, in sort of the 2020 era, and I entered it purely due to development reasons. I wanted to know what my weaknesses were. If anything else came of it, that was always a bonus. But it's opened up major opportunities for me that I wouldn't have been able to achieve without it. So when I entered, when I first entered, I was a service technician, really, just doing that sort of stuff. But they allowed me to sort of develop onto the diagnostic side, and it sort of pointed out those weak areas to me. And now I'm no longer a technician, but without the competition, I wouldn't be where I am with Porsche. So it's fantastic, and it's done loads for me.
I mean, it's generally the accepted wisdom is that if you win Top Tech, it changes your life, and Steve is sort of could attest to that. But you didn't even win. You were a finalist. It changed your life.
Rob, did you win? You didn't win either, did you?
I didn't win either. No, I was just runner-up in the final.
Yeah.
And it changed your life as well.
Yeah, totally. I would, again, similar to Ollie, I was a diagnostic technician at a Toyota retailer. I wanted to get into training, didn't know how to do it, and this really opened the doors completely. It's like a community there, and like a training. It's not just about, unfortunately, you've got to come and have some skills tests done, but that's only a small part of it. The community around it that has been built over the years that it's been running is phenomenal.
I still remember your first presentation you gave, Rob, and it was an eye-opener. Yeah, and I thought he's going to make a fantastic trainer.
We got stitched up, by the way, because they sent us the wrong car details for the presentation we were supposed to do. So a lot of us were making it up as we went along. It was that well put together that back then, so I remember it well.
Excellent. So it's helped your career development. Has it changed? Do you think the process of doing Top Tech improved your technical skills, your view of how to approach the job in general?
Yeah. Going back to what Steve was saying, it's like Steve said, the contacts you make, the people you meet, and just swapping stories and stuff in the evenings. It is a really amazing experience, and it is massively, as Ollie said, it just increases your skill knowledge and your, just beyond your four walls of the workshop you work in, if that makes sense.
I mean, we've sort of herded you all in for this Zoom call, but you lot are all chatting all the time, talking about technical stuff anyway, aren't you?
Yeah, Steve's usually trying to sell me stuff.
Oh, that is terrible. Tarnishing me with the salesman's brush. Please don't do that. Don't ever confuse me for sales, technical through and through. No, I talked to Rob a lot, and just last night, myself and Ollie were chatting about CAN networks and such. So yeah, and these bonds have been formed, I guess, as a direct result of Top Tech. I mean, I did know Rob sort of vaguely through Toyota, but our real bonds have been formed throughout this competition, I would say.
I mean, obviously, training is a key part of Top Tech, and it is in a way it's its own form of training, isn't it? Just by taking part, you're stretching yourself.
Yeah, I think it also, like I said, I remember when I was in the workshop, I didn't really know where I wanted to go next. And I knew I wanted to do something different. I mean, we all get to a point where my back was giving up and things like that in the workshop. So
I hear that a lot from you, I have to say.
I know it's a bugbear of our lives, I think, but it
Yeah.
just opened those doors. It made you think about other things that you might want to do within the motor industry still. And the opportunities are there. This is one of those events that opens those doors for you.
I mean, you talk about community. There's people out there who may be listening who maybe are sort of trying to seek out knowledge on their own, maybe aren't doing that much formal training. Would that be a barrier to taking part, or do you think it would that opens the doors for them?
No, I personally think it's I think Ollie was saying as well, it's a bit like a skills assessment. I think I know where I am, but in reality, who am I to judge? I don't know where I am. So this is another one that's a real opener, and you can see the people that come round the first time round, absolute bags of nerves, like we were when we did it, but you can see them grow throughout the competition day. You know, how you can see them getting confident, thinking about things more and getting more into it. And you can see they're walking away with, I know where I need to go now. I need to know what I need to improve my capabilities.
I mean, people grow through the years as well, don't they? Because I mean, for this year, for example, we had like George Betley who entered and then won. And that's super unusual. Usually what happens is people will enter, they'll do okay, then do a bit better the next year. Then do
I was going to say,
year.
Steve, I remember your kind of career, and you started from a humble technician, and then how many years was it before you progressed from, I don't know, just going through multi-choice questions through to semi-final and final?
It's a great question. I can't remember. What I do remember is not giving up. I know that there were years that I made it to the semi-final. Then the following year didn't even make the semi-final. That really knocked my confidence. So I didn't even get through the final round of questions. Then a finalist again, then nowhere the year after. And then I think I've been finalist a couple of times and then finally won. I think I was lucky enough. What happened was those that I was coming runners up to couldn't enter again. So naturally, the law of averages means hopefully I'll win it. That was my theory. And yeah, maybe it worked, maybe it didn't. I know in my final it was really close. Yeah, I know I don't know what the values or what final results were, but it was a close run thing.
I mean, yeah. It partly comes down to your strengths, doesn't it? Because obviously Top Tech can go in the semi-finals and the finals. Sometimes it's very diagnostic-y, to invent another word, and other times it could be much more mechanical. It really depends on where your strengths lie, doesn't it? And perhaps it encourages you to become more of an all-rounder and develop in every direction.
Yeah, I know. I think so. I think we put a lot of emphasis on, obviously, diagnostic, but obviously there's a lot of other skills you actually needed for it as well. You need, thinking. You need, to be good with not just a piece of diagnostic equipment, but good with a hammer as well, and a set of feeler gauges, whatever they are.
It's also a little bit about customer care sometimes. I mean, I know that points get deducted for seat covers not being put on in the final. So
would they be as harsh as that? I can't believe that.
Oh no, I can't imagine you being that strict, Ian.
I still remember the one that really threw most of them is where we had a lawnmower.
Yeah, the lawnmower that was shut in the back of the car. Do you remember that one, Steve?
I remember it. I remember it very well.
That one.
I still dream about it now.
But again, that makes it interesting. It's different, isn't it? It's a mechanical thing. It is, and they applied themselves, and it's great to see that. That's from my side, that's what I love to see. I love to see these people coming through, and just the skill out there is phenomenal.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
I think on that one, Rob, as well, the fire engine, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Forgot about that one. And I think, Ian, you had something up your sleeve for this year.
Yeah.
If we could get in touch with the local undertaker, I know.
Yeah, well, yeah, but the
Yeah.
dead body, they didn't let me have that one.
Well, we'll see. Watch this space, eh? I shall miss the final.
I think one of my favourites, just observing, was when there was a loose fuse once, and that was just that just threw everybody except one guy. We went, "Oh yeah, fuse is loose," and everyone was like, "Oh," slapped themselves in the face, going, "Why did I miss that?" So and it comes down to just the basics of just checking the basics.
I think everyone I know forgets about the basics sometimes, just dives in because we've got the most complicated fault in the world, but it can be the most easy as well. So don't overlook the basics.
When you are in the final, obviously you will have an array of tools and equipment. What will you be using, do you think? It can be anything, can't it? It could be all sorts of things.
Well, Rob, Steve, Ollie?
Well, I always, obviously, with JLR, we bring our diagnostic equipment and various bits and downs. But what I try to do is make sure that I'm not scoring points on how well they use that. I will assist them to find, they've got to tell me what they want, and then I will help them to get to that point, if that makes sense. So I try not to just penalise, if you work for JLR, are you at advantage? No, because I will give the same support to that person that doesn't know. So they're on an even field, even with having dedicated manufacturers there. So there is still that key to it.
I think there was a situation in the final last year where we used a lot of pico scope, like scopes, but one of the finalists didn't use pico scope, but that was absolutely fine. And it wasn't judged on the use of that equipment. It was judged on what knowledge he had. So there's a good range of equipment, but it's not judged on that. So that's important to note, I think.
It's a good way to get familiar with tools maybe you don't normally use, or maybe you never thought about using.
Yeah, it's a good eye opener for that, isn't it?
Yeah. The support aspect that both Rob and Ollie touched on is you won't be penalised. Remember that. I think I can remember 3 or 4 during last year's semi-final and the final who weren't familiar with Pico or were using Picoscope 6 and not 7. It wasn't an issue. We took our time. They were allowed a little bit more time if I felt as though, they were at a slight disadvantage because the previous guy was zipping around the software. They are all scored accordingly, and you're, like, as again Rob said, you are not disadvantaged. I
mean, in some ways you're judges there, but you're not. The judge implies that you are judging them, but you're also there to support them, support the contestants.
Yes,
which is perhaps an aspect we don't talk about enough.
I mean, the first thing I say when anybody comes up to the station, the first thing is just little brief chat, nice and calm, just a bit of breathing. Get that first one under your belt, and then you're off and running. And yeah, you see, I think, like again, as Robert said, through the day, you'll see these people grow as they move on. They get that first one done, and then they are off and on it. It's good to see. But yeah, they get support at each station. The thought of me, and I don't know about anybody else, standing there with a clipboard looking over my glasses, kind of going, I would just throw the towel in and go home. So yeah, we are support. Yes, that's the word, support.
I mean, in the end, Top Tech is all about supporting growth in the sector, isn't it? Growth of individual technicians, growth of overall skills in the industry, and helping to push the garage sector forward.
I don't think anyone fails at the competition. I think everyone just grows in the competition. I think you just take one little nugget away with you, kind of thing, and you're just a better technician for it. So yeah, I know. I think it's all about growing, and I think that just completing the first couple of rounds will grow someone. Because if I didn't know that fact, then I know, then I'll go and find out a little bit more about it.
I mean, people love doing it, and they keep coming back. That is interesting. You do see the same people; they keep coming back, and they once you're into it, you love it.
Yeah,
I think the biggest buzz that I see him is when you get to that end of the last task, and everybody just goes, Oh, and then
Yeah.
you know, it's not just the competition; it's the people you're with as well. We have a good laugh, and you know, there's always as we said, there's banter going on all the time. We're trying to make it more realistic in real world, but we're there to enjoy ourselves as much as the contestants, even though they're under far more pressure than us most of the time.
Yeah. Well, you should see us the day before. That's
that's when our pressure comes up the day before.
or even maybe 30 minutes before the start of the competition.
Yeah, there's been a few midnights before.
Yes, yeah, there's some stories to tell. Whoever makes the final.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, if we could try and sum it up, what is the value? What is the true value of Top Tech? Can you sum it up in a few words?
To me, it's opening doors.
Ollie?
I'd say it's the learning process for me. It's everything. I learned so much from it, and yeah, I learned what I was weak on, and yeah, I'm grateful for it.
Steve?
I think it's the endorsement you give to yourself for all the years that you've put in. You know, some of these guys who come along, they've been in the trade considerable amount of time, and it just, again, endorses all that effort and all the knowledge they've gained, all the training, all the hours they've put in, quite often outside of working hours.
Ian?
Is it just money? I don't think it's money.
No.
You know, it's nice to have, you know, that, you know, yes, it is several hundreds and thousands of pounds kind of thing, but I just think it comes down to recognition. It comes down to recognition of someone's skills, and also where you're going to end up. You don't know where you're going to end up. And I know we've got Ollie, you know, yeah, Pulse GB, and we've got Rob as JLR, and they haven't won anything, you know, as such. And we got yourself, Steve. And where did you end up? I know the amount of hours and everything else you actually put in. You just do not know where you're going to end up or where that next door is going to open. And I know that it's a great pull to fishing kind of thing for the manufacturers and, you know, tool suppliers and whatever else kind of thing. I know I just think, you know, the only person that probably knows the first results of the first round is myself, because I just see the scores come in as they come in, and I look at them, and basically, I just sort on an Excel spreadsheet, So yeah, I just don't think, that whether you have a low score, high score, or whatever else kind of thing, you just do not know. You just see the same names come round and round and round kind of thing. So yeah, well done to everyone.
I just quickly, I can't remember who it was who said, the golden nuggets of information. It works both ways. The amount that I learned from the technicians who are in the competition, either by some of the techniques they adopt that I'd never thought of myself, or just chatting in between challenges. So I'm grateful for that continually. I defy anybody to come to Top Tech and not pick up one piece of gold, a little golden nugget of information. There's always something.
Again, just back that up. I have never seen anybody walk away unhappy. Everybody has walked away. They've always taken something from it, big or small. It's always useful.
Mm-hmm.
And that includes us. I like Steve said, I'm the same. There's always good stuff to talk about in between, and you pick up a lot.
Yeah.
Thanks to you guys for taking part, and we'll be doing another one of these very soon.